Hey, everybody, it's Dave Fingers here with my good friend, the president and CEO of 3ACLEAN, Kyle Grivette. Kyle, how are you today?
I'm doing great, Dave. How are you?
I'm doing well. So this morning, I saw a report on the news where they were talking about the employee satisfaction working from home or working remotely versus in the office. And interestingly enough, it appears based on the percentages, and I don't remember the exact percentages, but there were significantly more employees that were looking forward to going back to the office, having that interaction in the office and a place to go for that structure. So, given your industry, I was just curious, what are you seeing out there, on the front lines and in the marketplace? What kind of trends are you seeing?
Well, I'll address this first from my perspective. From my perspective, whether I'm here at my house where I am now or at my office, which is only 4 miles away from here, so it's fairly easy for me to get there, not too big of a commute, I am more productive when there are people around me, whether I'm collaborating with them or they're just around doing whatever they're doing. And even at the house where, Ray may be upstairs. Her sister's been living with us for about the past year. She's got a couple of kids. And if they're all here, there's activity in the house and it makes me feel like doing something.
Yeah, it raises the energy level of the space, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, if I go to my office or here and there's nobody there, it actually is kind of hard for me to get rolling again. And I've talked to a number of people that also like that interaction or just having the people around. And what I think, as far as interaction, that means as you're walking from your office area, your cubicle, whatever, and you're going to the bathroom, you're saying hi to people. You're having quick conversations. Hey, did you see the Super Bowl yesterday? What'd you think? Whatever that is, those things are non-existent if you're at home and by yourself. Now, for us, our bookkeeper likes working from home, but he comes to our office about once a week, once every other week. On payroll weeks, he comes to the office because that's where he's got to take care of everything, drop off the checks, and whatever else has to be done in person at the office. Mm-hmm. And I did run into him yesterday, and we did have that conversation about the Super Bowl, and we did have the conversation about eating out and some of our favorite restaurants. And but he likes working from home. Our field staff has always been a combination of in the field, at home, taking care of business on the phone, and in the office. And that's continued. And I love it when operations, and it'll be typically on the days when people are picking up checks. A lot of our subcontractors, our outsourced workforce, they come and get their checks. They want them right away. So our people are there at the office. I love when that happens because the doorbell is ringing, all day long. And there are people moving back and forth. I can hear the conversation. I can interact with them. I love that. But I do think that we're not going to go back. And I think you and I talked about this on a previous video, that I don't think that we're going to see mass scale go back to the office, go back to the brick and mortar until the third quarter. I think we'll see more of it then.
And you were also saying what you're seeing with a lot of your clients is there's going to be more space or social distancing in the office from the workspaces, right? So companies may even need more office space because they need to spread people out a little bit. Is that right?
That's correct. And to put another perspective on this, Brandon Fugel, who is the CEO of Colliers International Utah, I read a report, guys, this was a few months ago, where they do believe that, where that companies, even if they back off currently, eventually when people are going to start coming back or whatever their plans are for growth, to bring those people in, they are going to take more space so that there is more distance. Where prior to COVID, you saw people were collapsing their spaces. People were moving out of offices and into open workspaces. Mm-hmm. But just listening to somebody who's on the scale of Brandon Fugel, I tend to believe that type of thinking is going to happen. They didn't come up with this just because that's what they think. I think that they're out there on the lead. They're truly on the leading edge. And, he's got groups of people sitting in place wherever they are, virtual or in an office, where they're actually researching this and they're talking to people. where I can only tell you what I see from what we're doing in our medical facilities. Small ones have been gobbled up into their bigger facilities because they didn't have enough going on at the smaller facilities. So they closed those down. But we've got very few places where they've actually made their people stay away. We do see some of that, but really the bulk of our business is people that need to be there. Medical staff has to be in that building to provide the services that they provide to their clientele, their patients.
Yeah, absolutely. And just in closing, one final note that I thought, one final thought that came to mind as you were talking, as companies do go back to work, and if they're expanding the space for employees, so more social distancing, I think that's going to could possibly cut down the illness rate in general, because people aren't that close. So colds and flus may not be spread as rapidly or in as much quantity as in the past, if that's the case.
Yeah, I see that. But the other thing that I also see, Dave, is I think that there's going to be a lot more self-policing, where you think about this, 2 years ago, let's say 2 years ago, you would see people all the time coming into work and they'd have the sniffles, the sneezes, they'd be coughing a little bit, and people kind of just keep on moving. Even though other people are getting sick and whatever, what's going to happen after this, I believe, and I don't think it's going to be short-term future, long-term, you come into my office and you're sniffling and sneezing and coughing, I'm looking at you and I'm asking you, WTF, baby, you got to go home.
You need to go home, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, good point. Good point. Well, as we said a couple times last year, the world as we know it is changing. And that's, I think that's one thing to look out for and see what happens in the very near future.
Right.
So good insight. Appreciate it again. Thanks again for all you do out there on the front lines, you and your company. And thanks for joining me again today.
You got it, Dave. Thank you.
All right, Kyle. Have a good day.
You too. See ya.